And I just think it's important people know who they are. I mean, the chief proponent of this recall, the chief proponent, believes that we should microchip immigrants, that we should microchip immigrants, that we should microchip immigrants. That's the chief proponent of this recall. You look at the original sponsors of it. You have someone, a member, proud member of the 3%er, an alt-right militia group. Others that are devout conspiracy theorists that believe in Cuba. Another that literally supports the insurrection, supported it on January 6th. That's the group. This is the sixth effort to recall. I've been here 25 minutes. 25 months. I know it feels like, I honestly, it even surprises me saying that. It's just been a little over 2 years. This is the sixth attempt. But they were aided by a judge that basically allowed them to close to get done with it.
Get it outside. Then they go to home state or anything app and they scan everything inside.
And can it only be used by people who have been vaccinated?
Yes, on location.
Or if we recover.
Recover, yes.
Okay, recovery. No tests.
No
test. No recovery or vaccine.
Green passport. This is the green passport, and this is going to be the path of many countries. So we can go inside?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Shalom. We the Brothers of Great Millstone, the church in Birmingham, Alabama. And as always, want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Makakadash. Yeah, in the ancient Hebrew tongue, that would be the correct names of the Heavenly Father, His only begotten Son, and the Holy Spirit. I also would like to give double honors to our teachers, the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, you brothers out there laboring in His work. And as always, you believers, the Akim, as well as the Aqua, those of you who subscribe to this truth as well. So yeah, we back once again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. And it's sitting right here is going to be simply entitled, At the End It Shall Speak, which that's an excerpt from the book of Habakkuk, the second chapter, concerning prophecy, and how the fact that here in the latter days, you know, things would be able to be seen clearer and clearer and be made manifest concerning things were written in the word, in the scriptures. And right now we're in a time where those things are now being brought more and more to the forefront. And pretty much what you're witnessing is prophecy taking center stage, man. And as it is written, you know, before this kingdom is shut down, Esau, the so-called white man, would pretty much roar. Okay? Matter of fact, you know what? Let's start off with that in Jeremiah, the 5th chapter. Because, hey, this man is not going to go down easy, man. You got to remember what's at stake. Rulership is at stake. See that? Furthermore, this man understands his destiny. And that's pursuant to the Revelation, the 12th chapter and the 12th verse, right? Where scriptures tell you how this man will come down with great wrath, knowing that he had but a short time. See? And how did he know that he had a short time? Because he's pretty much ear hustling the prophets, man. And his word is now went forth, okay? The prophecies have begun to take root here on the planet Earth. So go ahead, Al.
God, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 5, and verse 22. Fear ye not me, saith the Lord?
Mm-hmm.
Will ye not tremble at my presence, which have placed the sand for the bound of the sea?
Right, and the sea is the people, and that sand is set up as a bound, meaning out of all the rulerships that rose to power and eventually fell out of power, they had a set time where they couldn't proceed any further. And just like when you consider the sea, you know, you have the sand, you know, pretty much as a bound. that the sea cannot pass. So that's a metaphor for rulership. You know, the Lord gave each and every nation their respective time to rule. But and that was given to them by said measure. And again, they couldn't proceed any further, man. Right? And that's the same with the so-called white man. We coming to the end of this man's rulership, right? And no matter how much this man pushed forth his rhetoric, he tried to create this narrative. You know, pretty much this man is scratching and clawing and fighting tooth and nail to stay in power. There's nothing he can do to offset that decree. Okay? Read that again from the top, Bob.
Con, Jeremiah 5:22. It said, "Fear ye not me, said the Lord. Will ye not trouble at my presence, which have placed the sand for the bound of the sea by a perpetual decree?"
See, by a perpetual decree. So it was decreed by Yahweh Shai that this man would not go any further. See, go ahead.
It says, by perpetual decree that it cannot pass it. It says, and though the waves thereof toss themselves, yet can they not prevail.
Right. So the waves, hey, you know, you imagine the waves, you see the waves, they crashing, right? Yet they can't prevail because there's a bound there. See that? Well, it's the same with rulerships and certain regimes that rise to power. You know, they might scratch and claw, they might fight, you know, to try to stay in power, but they won't prevail. Why? Because the Lord have given them a said time to rule. Right? Go ahead.
It says, though they roar, yet can they not pass over it.
Oh, it says, though they roar. And that's what you're witnessing right now. Okay, Esau is roaring. Hey, if you consider, let's say if you take a pig to slaughter, you lead him to slaughter, that pig is not going to go quietly. He's going to begin to squeal, you know? But that's the case with the so-called white man. He's squealing and pretty much he's roaring. And that's symbolic to this man's media, you know, these different legislations that he's setting up, these laws, right? That's a form of this man roaring. Matter of fact, Baba Kasha, could you pull up that word, roar? And you read it again, you get it for me.
Yeah, this is the book of Jeremiah 5:22. It said, fear ye not me, saith the Lord. Will ye not tremble at my presence, which have placed the sand for the bound of the sea by a perpetual decree that it cannot pass it? And though the waves thereof toss themselves, yet can they not prevail. Though they roar, yet can they not pass over it.
See, though they roar, okay, yet they cannot pass over. Now, real quick, let's get that word roar.
This is the word roar. It says to murmur, to growl, roar, cry aloud.
It say to growl, right? Hey, you know, when an animal growl, they show their teeth. You know that. You know, you see an animal. That's the word it say right there. Growl, right?
Is it?
Yeah. So when an animal growl, he shows his teeth. There's a method to that. You know, it's somewhat of a defense mechanism, right? Real quick, give me Psalm 37.
God. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 30, with Psalm 37 and
12.
Psalm 37 and 12. It said the wicked plotteth against the just.
Oh, he's plotting. Hey, and this is the scriptures giving you a chronological order. All right, eventually the wicked will plot against the just. And those are those two extremes again, which goes back to Jacob and Esau. You got to remember the story doesn't change, man. See that? The wording might change, but it's the same two entities. See that? So the wicked in this case will be Esau. And what you're witnessing right now is this man began to plot against the just. Go ahead.
The wicked plotteth against the just and gnash upon him with his teeth.
Yep, and gnash upon him with his teeth. And those teeth, his teeth is set up to hurt you, man. Okay? Now, that teeth overall would be his military, because that's his blessing, the sword, right? But what the military is going to set up, what is going to be set up an effort to do, to push forth that Maxine, man. And that, hey, when you consider teeth, you have different shapes and sizes. You know, you have the canine teeth. You know, you have different size teeth. So in this case, from one spectrum, you have the ICBM missiles all the way down to a needle. That's a wide range of the teeth of the so-called white man, which is really the beast, man, that dragon. Matter of fact, give me Ecclesiasticus 21. Hold that Ecclesiasticus 21 on deck. Let's go back to what you was reading.
Going back into the word roar, it says to be in great commotion or tumult.
Yeah, and that's hey, that's what's happening. This man, he's stirring things up. It's a big commotion now. It's a very heavy spirit of unease and restlessness throughout the planet Earth. And why is that? Because we witnessing a transition of power. And no one ever said that this would be a smooth transition. In fact, it's the opposite. It's going to be a very rocky transition. You know, the kingdom of heaven being ushered in is going to be a field and froth with danger. Matter of fact, real quick, go to Acts, the 14th chapter, in the 22nd verse.
Come on, this is the book of Acts, chapter 14, and verse 22. It says, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith. And that we must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of the Most High.
Yeah, so, hey, tribulation is going to be very turbulent. This is not going to be a smooth ride. Hey, when you consider these Israelites, man, as we call them, the casual Israelite, they think they just come into this thing and they unwind and they're just going to go into the kingdom, man. You know what proved that that's not the case? What happened in the time of Noah? That transition to the new world, if you will, was in that ship, and that was a rocky ride. You know, I'm pretty sure that, it was a lot of tossing and turning. You see? So it's going to be very turbulent going into the kingdom, man. And why is that? Because we're witnessing a translation of powers here. The kingdom is being handed over from one people to another. The one people being Esau, the so-called white man, and it's being handed over to the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American, which are the true biblical Israelites. And that's a foreign idea to most, okay? The idea that a people robbed, spoiled, downtrodden, and beaten down is actually the next rulers of the planet Earth, starting with the elect of the nation of Israel. And those who was exalted, and it seemed that their power was firmly established, will ultimately be moved out of the way. But that's going to be a rocky transition, okay? And what's going to contribute to that? Esau himself, man. This man is not going to go down easy. See? So let's go back to that definition if you got something else on it up.
It says to rage war.
Oh, that sounds familiar, right? Rage. Let's get the precept on that. The book of Psalms. Let's get that. Okay, this man is in a rage. He's raging. He's roaring. Why? Because the kingdom, his power is slipping out of his hand, man. That's the fight. The fight is for power. Okay? Go ahead, up.
This Psalms 2 and 1. Why do the heathen rage?
See that? Why do the heathen rage? Go ahead.
And the people imagine a vain thing.
Hey, and that's starting with who? The so-called white man. He's at the top of the list when considering the heathen, man. Right? Especially in relation to the time that we're in now. Why is that? Because he's in power. So this is the man that's raging right now. And he certainly imagined a vain thing in his feeble attempt to establish his new world order and crown it a success. That's a vain thing, man, because it's decreed that Israel will be raised up. Okay? So let's go back up to those definitions.
It says to war.
Oh, to what?
To war.
To war, yeah. Go ahead.
It says to be troubled. And this by little on it.
Okay, to be troubled. And hey, that's beautiful right there. Real quick, since you're in the blue letter, go to Isaiah the 10th chapter and read that in Isaiah the 10th chapter in the first verse. And give me the definition for that word decree.
This is the book of Isaiah 10 in verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees in their right grievousness which they have prescribed.
Salakia, look up that word grievousness. So the so-called white man is guilty of that offense. This man has written unrighteous decrees, right? Here it is. This man is poised to have you to be Maxine, man, right? Against your will. You don't know what the hell is in it, yet he's going to write it into legislation. He's going to pass it as law. So that's an unrighteous decree, especially when you measure it up to the scriptures. That's unrighteous, man. And indeed, it's grievous. So look up that word grievous.
This is the word grievous. It says toil, trouble.
Oh, what?
It says trouble.
Trouble. Hey. So this is what's going to contribute to that time of Jacob's trouble that the scriptures speak about, man. But you got a lot of Israelite groups out there who are not willing to digest that idea. They're not willing to embrace the idea of a Jacob's trouble. You know, IUIC and ISUPK, they pretty much make mockery. They take light the idea of Jacob's trouble. Well, what you're witnessing right now is pretty much the precursor, the prelude into Jacob's trouble, where this man is setting the stage to bring forth his draconian laws. That's going to be the very glue. These laws, what this man is pushing forth, is going to bridge this trouble, man, that we read about in Daniel the 12th chapter, Jeremiah the 30th chapter and the 7th verse. It is going. What's going to be the source of it? Esau declaring, his laws. That's why we just read, woe unto them that write unrighteous decrees and grievousness which they have prescribed. Well, that word grievous, what the brother just looked up, goes back to trouble, man. So it's going to be these decrees that's going to contribute to that time of Jacob's trouble. All right? So give me what you got.
God, this is the book of Psalms 59 and 7. It says, behold, they belch out with their mouth. Swords are in their lips.
Yes, swords are in their lips, man. So when you see the rhetoric of Esau, when you see his media pushing forth a certain narrative, it's all an effort to wage war against you, man. You got to remember, this man really was built upon two principles. Two qualities, was given to him to assure his survival. The one obvious being the sword, which we can read in the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter, where that was his blessing, but also deception, man. Okay? So pretty much this man, he would set a narrative. He's the accuser, as the scriptures say. So out of deception, he'll pretty much frame, a opponent. He'll frame an adversary just so he can come up against them, man. And again, what's the glue to that? His legislations and laws. Read that again.
God, it says, behold, they belch out with their mouth. Swords are in their lips.
Uh-huh.
For who say they doth hear?
Right. So this devil, behind the shroud of secrecy, he come up with these different legislations, which is nothing more than an effort to wage war against Israel. And we're going to show you that in this lesson through the spirit of power, Yahweh Shema Shah. Okay, we're inching closer and closer to the so-called white man fulfilling biblical prophecy, which is in the latter times, he will come up against his brother Jacob. Matter of fact, Baba Kasha, when you finish that, if you finish that up, give me Genesis the 27th chapter. You know what I want, and you give me Wisdom of Solomon, the 10th chapter in the 10th verse. If you got something else, you can bring it out as well.
I got some real quick.
Come.
This is the book of Psalms 83 and verse 3. It says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones.
Beautiful. That's dealing with, when you read that chapter, it's concerning all the nations. But you got to remember, in Revelation the 17th chapter, it tells you how the nations had 1 hour to rule with the beast. So you have this conglomerate of nations headed and spearheaded, should I say, by the so-called white man to strategize against the Lord's hidden ones, man. And it's all due to this crafty counsel that's taking place. Okay, hey, look, this man, hey, the reason why you're in the situation, the reason why you're in these barrios, on these reservations, in these ghettos, these projects throughout America and throughout the world for that matter, you have a higher power that pretty much strategized and put that in motion. The reason why you got access to damn McDonald's, okay, or it's always a liquor store in your neighborhood. Oh, you have Fagos in your neighborhood. It's because that was planned out. It wasn't nothing random about that, man. You had these devils to come together and take crafty counsel against Israel, because the end goal again is the birthright, man. And do you think Esau is going to sit down and diplomatically work this thing out? No, he's going to resort to his instincts, which again is deception and the sword. All right, go ahead.
It says, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Yep, that's it. All right, so give me that Genesis out.
Come, Genesis 27 and 41. It says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing, which his father blessed him.
Yeah, so like it. And that's beautiful. Matter of fact, read it one more time.
It said Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing which his father blessed him.
Right, and that's beautiful that we're able to go to the source of this friction. And you got our people, like you got certain activists amongst Israel. Oh, like our boy, what's the brother name?
Kamu.
Hey, Kamu was almost there. Hey, like Kamu, he climbed up to the top of the, the rim, and he looked over. Well, that's the case with a lot of our people. A lot of them, they understand clearly that the so-called white man is their enemy. They understand clearly that obviously, there's an agenda, right? The so-called white man, he has a hatred towards the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American, which it doesn't take an in-depth mind to come to that conclusion. Just take a glimpse into history. But do they have the luxury of going into the source of that hate and why that hate is there? See, we have that luxury, man. And that's why you should constantly thank Yahweh Shem Yahushua. See that? And we read right here the source of that hate. Read it again, huh?
This is Genesis 27 and 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing.
See that? So we know why. So we know why the so-called white man hate us. It goes back to the blessing and the birthright. See? Go ahead.
It says, and Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
Read that part one more time, huh?
It says, and Esau said in his heart.
It said Esau said in his heart. That's concerning these secret meetings, man. That secret counsel. That crafty counsel, man. That's what it means when it said when Esau said in his heart, right? Go ahead.
It said Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
Then will I slay my brother Jacob. Do you know what we read right there is actually prophecy? Although that happened, it actually happened, right? Esau plotted to slay Jacob in that moment, but that was written for our learning. You know, and that's pursuing the Romans the 15th chapter, man. See that? Matter of fact, let's prove that. Give me Isaiah real quick, 46, is it? Isaiah 46 and 10.
Con, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 46 and 10. It says, declaring the end from the beginning.
See? Declaring the end, which is prophecy, from the beginning. And we just read right there in the beginning, right there in Genesis the 27th chapter, we just read a prophecy that's ultimately going to be fulfilled in this lifetime. Man. See? Read that again, huh?
It says, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure.
That's right. And we just read out of the script. We just read out of the script concerning the things that's going to happen here in the latter days. Esau is going to say in his heart that he's going to slay his brother Jacob. That's a prophecy right there that's set to be fulfilled here in this lifetime. Matter of fact, let's prove that. Give me that Wisdom of Solomon 10.
This Wisdom of Solomon 10 and verse 10. When the righteous fled from his brother's wrath.
See, when the righteous fled from his brother's wrath, hold that and give me Revelation the 12th chapter and the 12th verse. Let's find out when this wrath of the righteous brother is going to be on display.
God, this is Revelations 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them.
Mm-hmm.
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath.
Having what?
Great wrath.
Uh-huh.
Because he knoweth that he have but a short time.
See that? That proves that we're in the end, right? Hey, when you find out you got a short time? In the fourth quarter. You don't say you ain't got no time in the first quarter. So that's why we know that wrath that we read about will be in this time. See that? So come on, read that Wisdom of Solomon again.
Yeah, this Wisdom of Solomon 10 and verse 10. When the righteous fled from his brother's wrath.
See that?
She guided him in right paths.
Woo!
Showed him the kingdom of the Most High, and gave him knowledge of holy things, made him rich in his travails, and multiplied the fruits of his labors.
Right. And that proves right there that it would be by way of this truth. You will escape Esau. Do you know that Esau is the sword, man? That's in Psalms the 17th chapter. So we just read that the righteous is going to elude, if you will, the wrath of his brother by way of this truth. It's this truth that's going to guide us, which goes back to Yahweh Shema Shah, but pretty much this is that string, if you will, in which the Lord is going to guide us. It's going to be by way of this truth. This is how you're going to be preserved from that said peril in the time of Jacob's trouble, which would be facilitated by Esau. Real quick, let's go to Psalms, the 2nd chapter. And that's the spirit. We really haven't even gotten into this thing yet. You see that? That's the spirit, man. Give me Psalms, Salakia, Proverbs 2 up and start at
That's spirit. Yeah. God. Yep.
Hey, I just looked at the time too. That's it. Hey, come on, man. Everything's spiritual, man. Hey, and prepare your minds, okay? Set your heart aright. Be prepared to be ready to embrace what's about to take place, man. Get ready to witness the powerful works of Yahweh Shema Shah. All right? Hey, what happened? What made the Lord show those works? It was pretty much the resistance from, and I'm talking about in the time of Egypt. Our first captivity was pretty much parallels this time. What prompted the Lord to begin to show those works? The resistance of Egypt. Mm-hmm. You remember Egypt didn't want to let us go. Egypt wanted to keep us in derision. Egypt wanted to keep the Pharaoh, the house of Pharaoh, wanted to keep us oppressed. And that actually provoked Yahweh Shem Yahushua to show forth those works, man. See, so that's the time we're in now. We're in beautiful times. See, so come on,
This is Proverbs 2:10. When wisdom entereth into thine heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul, discretion shall preserve thee.
Yep, discretion shall preserve thee. And this is what you're exposed to when you come into these teachings, man. The Lord have given you discretion. You have developed wisdom. And this is just not just some understanding that you might pick up in these institutions or universities. No, this is a higher learning, literally. This is a higher form, which if I'm not mistaken, I believe that word if I'm not mistaken, university or college, one of them, it goes into the word high, it goes into that term, higher learning. Well, no, this is really the highest form of understanding, which is not bound by the earthly realm. See? Continue up.
It says, discretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee.
Go ahead.
To deliver thee from the way of the evil man.
Woo! To deliver thee from the way of the evil man, which goes back to the wicked Esau, so-called white man, which according to biblical prophecy will eventually rise up against his brother, man. And this is the scene in that drama. We're in the scene now where the so-called white man will actually come after you, man. If you're a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American. And you can't come up against that idea, you know? Because why? You see where this man have created a new war, right? A new war, and this is the war on the Crown 19, where in times past you had the war on drugs, the war on terror, which, you know, these devils, they're going to mess that as well. But the war now is on the Crown 19. And these legislations that's in play is going to be brought forth to pretty much infuse that war. See that? But who's the face of the war? The so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American. And that's not a coincidence. And again, we're going to go into that in this lesson. So, did you have anything,
No.
Okay. So now with that, let's get into some of this information. Let's bring everything together.
All right, this is from BBC.com, and it reads, "The gospel truth, Crown 19 jabs, and the danger of religious misinformation."
Oh, why all of a sudden that's why is that at the forefront? Hey, see, what you're gonna realize is that this is the truth that we're pushing forth, man. This is the only thing that makes sense. Why all of a sudden you have this idea being pushed forth that, you know, there's a stumbling block pretty much, and it could be this religious misinformation. Come on, man. You can't make that up. That proves that they're watching, man. And we read that in, matter of fact, real quick, let's prove that they're watching. Go to Psalms 37, and I want to say, is it the 20? Oh, man, let me see.
I know, let me see. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Con, give me that real quick.
Let's see.
Yep, that's the spirit. The brother said Esau resisting prophecy, man. When you go into that word resist, it means to wrestle, which pretty much translates to fight. Okay, so Esau is fighting. Hey, what happens? Let's say like if you whipping your child, and the more they resist, the more you have to get into it, man. You see? So that happened, again, that happened in the time of ancient Egypt. You remember when the Pharaoh, he resisted one plague, and the Lord hardened his heart? Then what happened? The Lord brought forth a more emphatic plague, and a more emphatic plague. And what was the last plague, pretty much? The Lord took out all the firstborn. That was because he kept resisting. So the Lord had to just knock him out, man. See? All right, go ahead.
This Psalms chapter 37 and 32. The wicked watcheth the righteous.
See that? Read it again.
The wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him.
Come on, man. Come on, man. That's the chronological order. So you see where the Lord set this thing up perfectly. This is no coincidence that you have, the apparatus of the internet, and in particular the YouTube, and this is the springboard, if you will, in which the Lord chose for this word to be propelled throughout the world. This is the vehicle that the Lord chose for this world to go throughout the planet Earth. And that's a fulfillment of prophecy. And in particular, Matthew, the 24th chapter. Why Lord Yahweh said this gospel will be preached to the world, then the end shall come. See? So it's no coincidence you have that in the scriptures. The wicked watcheth the righteous, man. So he's watching us. Right? The Lord has created a platform for us in the form of this alternative media, man. And everybody watching us. And you got information coming out where you got players in the NFL, the NBA, these stars and entertainers, those who have somewhat status here in Babylon the Great, they watching, man. And that includes the elites. Hey, the prophecies say that all eyes will be on the prophets, man. That's in 1 Corinthians, the 4th chapter. Okay, how we will be made a spectacle. So everything is right on schedule, man. For all of you believers out there, just keep believing. Okay? That's what the Lord requires of you. And that's in the book of St. John, the 6th chapter, the 29th and 30th verse. Okay, come on, that was it on that?
Yeah, that was it.
All right. Hey, you got anything up?
Yeah, I got a quote from a new elite. His name is Brock Chisholm. It says, to achieve world government, it is necessary to remove from the minds of men their individualism, loyalty to family traditions, national patriotism, and religious dogmas.
Woo! Hey, that goes back, that proves that those are the ancient Greeks in the spirit. Because when you go over to the time of Maccabees, it was decreed that every man should depart from his traditions and laws, man. See that? Hey, that was beautiful, man. So that's the mentality of Esau, the so-called white man. He's looking to detach you from whatever that could cause a resistance. Which, this is a beautiful story playing out. There's so much drama that you're at the edge of your seat. If you're really watching this story, you can't go take a break. You can't take a piss break, man. You have to actually sit there and watch because there's so many things happening, man. See, this man, he's looking to cause you to come away from whatever you might hold fast to in order to withdraw any form of resistance. But when you read in the prophecy, it tells you how this man was going to get nothing but resistance. His ways, the scriptures tell you how the feet of his strength will be straightened. Loosely paraphrasing, man, he will be in straits. So, hey, this thing is making out for a beautiful, this is going to be a heavy climax, man. Right? So, come on, we can go back to that article, unless you had something.
No, I ain't got nothing. All right, just read the article again. The title, it reads, The Gospel Truth, Crown 19 Jabs, and the Danger of Religious Misinformation.
Yep, so you see, hey, if somebody tell you that hey, let's say, first and foremost, you a gun-ho motherfucker with a gun. That's Esau, right? Esau, you already know Esau, if motherfucker tell you, let me see your hands, and they just unfoul you, he's already gun-ho. It's a part of his makeup. It's women in his DNA to come forth with the sword. Let's say you got a guy like that, right? And you tell him it's danger. What he gonna do, man? He's gonna approach it with the sword. So you see how these devils trying to create this narrative to justify bringing the sword to us. They got the word danger in the same breath with religion. You see that out? Read that again.
Ooh, it says the gospel truth, crown 19 jabs, and the danger of religious misinformation.
Come on, man. So what a guy with a sword gonna do when he hear danger? He's gonna up his sword, man. So yeah, we're not ignorant of your devices, Esau. We know what you're doing. Okay. When you really assess this man and you further examine him, which the scriptures tell us to do, and that's in Ecclesiastes the 12th chapter. It says, "You shall be unto him; he shall be unto you as a wiping glass." Right. So when you take a look at this man and you look into his history, he's always done this. For an example, when you go back to Nero, 64 AD, that was a false flag. He burnt down the city and blamed it on the Christians. He had the people to believe that it was the Christians who was violent. See that? So that's the stage being set once more. Okay, you got something up?
Yeah, kind. This is Psalms 17 and verse 13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword.
That's it. Yep, you got it. You can break it down.
Just like I was saying, man, because Esau, he's going to come down having great wrath, man. Knowing that he have for a short time, man. And again, he's going to come enforcing these jabs, which them nothing but many swords, man. And there's going to be a point when this devil going to say, if you don't take the jab or if you don't take the chip, he's going to shoot you down, man. You know, that's why King David was asking Yahweh Shemel to deliver him, man. Because it was out of King David's hands. It was up to the Lord. And we're in that same position, you know?
Yep, that's it. And the scriptures say, deliver me from my enemy, my deadly enemies, my strong enemies or something like that. Those are too strong for me. See that? So, yeah, did you have something? If not, let's go back into that.
Back in the article, it reads, as the crown Maxine slowly rolled out across the world, leaders are working hard to build confidence in them. It says religious leaders.
What the fuck? Why should we have confidence in that, man? You know? See, Esau right now is in desperation mode. And again, you know what's heavy, man? The media pretty much is Esau sharing his thoughts with you, if you will. And you know what? And everybody hear the media, but only we pretty much understand where he's coming. We know that this is coming from the mind of Esau. And you know that goes back to the prophets. We go back into who was that, Elisha? Well, it tells you how Elisha knew what was said in the king's bedchambers. See that? So pretty much Esau is sharing his thoughts with you, but you have to have the spirit of Yahweh Shemel to first and foremost know that this is a part of a diabolical or more sinister plot, if you will, right? And furthermore, you having the ability through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel to merit it with the scriptures. This is how we have peace, man. This is why we are comforted, because we know perfectly well what's taking place. This is nothing more than a so-called white man in this stage of the drama, right? Beginning to raise up against his brother Jacob. See? Go ahead, you got something? Anybody got something before we go back?
This is Job 5 and 14.
Beautiful.
It says, they meet with darkness in the daytime.
Right, here it is. They meeting in these secret councils in the middle of the day. What does it mean in the daytime? This means when the information is forth. Here it is, we shedding a light on you, and you in the cut trying to make a drug deal. We looking at you, man. So you meeting in darkness in the time where our antennas is up. Hey, you could have got this shit over on us years back. You know? But now the Lord has awakened us, man. We know that you are our enemy. Hey, you know, just to simplify it, if you take a deer, which is known, is well documented, that a deer, when he see a lion, he gonna get the hell out of there. Well, let's say if the lion try to finesse, you know, the lion is acting peaceful. Man, you know the deer gonna say, man, if that deer is in his right mind, then deer gonna get the hell out of there. The deer is not gonna buy into that, man. Okay? Why? Because he know who his enemy is. The Lord has enlightened us. So these devils is meeting in the darkness, you know, in the shroud of secrecy, plotting, right? In the middle of the day. meaning at the height of information, man. We know that you are our enemy. Read that again.
It says they meet with darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as in the night.
Right, they groping, man. They pretty much reaching. You see? In the noonday. Now, there's a reason why the scriptures compare this time that we're in to the noonday, because noon is what? The highest point of the day. Now, when you read the scriptures with understanding, what you find out is from a perspective of, from the perspective, should I say, of symbolism, if you will, metaphors and dark sayings, right? Parables. That the word day and light, it symbolizes understanding. So if noonday is the highest point of the day, then the symbolic point of view of that is we would be in the highest form of information. This is the time when information is at its height. See? Because that was a time when you had information, you had light, but this is the height of that. Okay? So that's why the scriptures say noonday. So you got any more there?
That was it.
I got some. Con. This 2 Corinthians 2 and verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
Yep, that's right. The Lord has given us eyes to see. We can actually see the snare being laid. And that's in the book of Proverbs, what, the first chapter? I believe the 17th verse, where the scriptures say, surely in vain is the net set in the sight of any bird. So if I see you setting the trap, you setting that trap in vain. See that? And why is that? Because I actually have eyes to see you set the trap. So come on, let's go back.
All right, come jump down this last paragraph. It reads, many are working hard to spread the news that the jabs are safe and effective, but as the BBC's population reporter Stephanie Hargitay has been finding out, there are figures in almost every faith who are undermining that message, with some spreading misinformation.
Oh, can I say out real quick? It's saying almost every faith. So these devils, they pretty much going to demonize the Bible altogether. Okay? Which this is nothing new. When you go back into history, you have, what was that? The Bible Destruction Group. Okay? So this devil, he's going to try to eliminate this thing altogether. You know, it's going to get to a point where you're going to be demonized for believing in the Bible, man. You know, and hey, that's how you pretty much get rid of the problem. You know, you just try to lump everybody into one category. You know, hey, that's what happens. You know, when you in desperation mode, when you're against the clock, you ain't got time to stop and figure out. No, you're just gonna go at everybody, man. Read that again.
It says there are figures in almost every faith who are undermining that message, with some spreading misinformation, which could lead to Maxine hesitancy.
Well, hold up. Who they really talking about? They talk about the prophets, but they can't say there's some guys called Great Millstone that's constantly every day. They can't say that, man. So he's going to say, you know, anybody with a Bible in their hand. See that? It's undermining this message. Okay, you got more on that up?
That was it on that one right now.
Now with that, right? With that, let's find out who is the ones who really they aiming for. Who are they trying to convince? Read that last part one more time out, and let's go on to these other articles.
It says there are figures in almost every faith who are undermining that message, with some spreading misinformation, which could lead to Maxine hesitancy.
Oh look, but who are they concerned with being hesitant? Let's see who they concerned with being hesitant. Go ahead,
This from YahooNews.com, and it reads, Black clergy
Oh, Black clergy. Now, real quick, so the people out there will be edified who might not know what that word clergy means. Could you look up that word? Clergy.
This is the word clergy. It says the body of all people ordained for religious duties, especially in the Christian church.
Okay, so now this devil actually have black clergies, meaning so-called pastors and preachers, pushing forth the idea to Israel to not be hesitant, to just go on out there, take a leap of faith. I'm surprised they ain't used that yet, you know? Hey, go ahead and run with that, man. Y'all need to run with that. That needs to be the campaign. Take a leap of faith. Yeah, go ahead.
God, it reads, Black clergy joins push to convince skeptical African Americans.
Oh, so now we know who the ones who they trying to bring out of that hesitant stage. It's you so-called Negroes, man. First and foremost. And it's more than that. We're going to show you that it's talking about Israel as a whole. Read that again.
It says Black clergy joins push to convince skeptical African Americans to get the jab.
Come on, man. That's the war. That's Genesis the 27th chapter, if you can receive it. When the days of mourning of my father is past, which really, when you go into the timeline, what was really the days of mourning his father? When Yahweh was put to death, man. That's why you think it's a coincidence after that. What happened? The Roman onslaught of 7 AD, man, it came down hard body, man, even to this very day. So this is that war, man, that's being waged. It's unfolding right before your very eyes. Go ahead, Doc.
It says Black church leaders are joining the effort to convince African Americans long skeptical of medical establishments.
Hey, Jake out there gets shot, and he'll just let it drip dry, man. I mean, it's in the spirit. It's in Jake. You know, they'll go to the hospital with your auntie, and it's a lot of our women. They really trust in Esau medical field, you know. Your auntie got her damn medicine cabinet filled with pill bottles. But for the most part, Jake is skeptical of Esau, man. All right? Because I did a video a while back, and you can look this up. This guy, Magic Johnson, right? He came out and said he's still nervous when the cops get behind him. He came out and said it. So that proves right there that there's a disconnect between these two nations, man. They're natural born enemies. And that goes all the way back to the womb. Okay, y'all got something before we go back?
God.
Yeah, I got some.
That's fair.
Yeah. This is the book of Sirach 33 and 15. So like this is the book of Sirach 33 and 14. It says, good is set against evil, and life against death.
See that? Good is set against evil. Again, it goes back to the Jacob and Esau story. Hey, you know, hey, it's like if you watch a movie, right? You could have seen the movie before, but if you ain't got full understanding what happened, you got to go back to the beginning of the movie. And what happened in the beginning? You try to find out, what's really the basis of the movie moving forward. What's the movie I was talking about that I said I just cannot get? Cloud Atlas.
Cloud Atlas.
Hey, and what I told y'all, I said, look, the reason why I can't get that movie is when you go to the very beginning. The guy, he started talking, he be just murmuring, man. He be just mumbling a bunch of bullshit. You gotta have the caption on. But hey, if you don't know what's going on at the beginning, then surely you're not going to understand what's taking place. That's why the Lord made the point. He declared it in from the beginning, man. See that? Read that again.
Sirach 33 and 14. Good is set against evil.
Right. And how do we know who that good and evil is? Go back to the beginning, right? It's not that Cain and Abel was not Cain and Abel against each other. Was not Jacob and Esau against each other? Well, that's what it is. Good is set against evil. That's the source of the good and evil. These two nations of people. Go ahead, Al.
It says, in life against death, so is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly.
That's it, man. That's the message right there. Hey, and a lot of our people are reluctant to buy into this because they've been taken by that Christianity drug. You know, like a bunch of hippies smoking weed and they love each other. That's the problem, you know. But this is the work of Yahweh Shem Shah. Matter of fact, continue up.
Verse 15. It says, so look upon all the works of the Most High.
All the what?
All the works of the Most High.
So this is the Lord's program. Yahweh Shem Shah set it up for this friction to play out like this. Go ahead.
It says, and there are two and two, one against another.
That's it. Okay? And that's what you're witnessing right now. That's why Esau have to have a resistor. You think, look, that's heavy, man. Esau pushing forth his agenda to bring his new world order is somebody in the way. That's just the way the Lord set it up. And lo and behold, it's Jacob. So that proves that this story is on point. All right, go ahead. Let's go back. Unless you had something? Okay,
Come back in the article, it says black church leaders are joining the effort to convince African Americans, long skeptical of the medical establishment, to put their trust in the jab to help bring the pandemic to an end.
Come on, why the so-called Negro gotta be the ones? You ain't needing us for nothing else but to fill up your prisons in these ghettos, right? And to pretty much the highest level of a Negro, Latino, and Native American in this society is to be nothing more than a jester in the Esau's court, okay? In the form of entertainment, all right? You singing a damn national anthem at the Super Bowl or some crazy shit, man. All right, but now all of a sudden they need you to curb a pandemic. Hey, but you see, they got these religious leaders, these black clergies, right, set up to further that idea. And we just read in the opening article what the brother had, where they said, look, there's a lot of religious leaders out there that's contributing to that. We know who it gotta be. It gotta be us. We the only ones that's taking that hard stance against the so-called white man and his diabolical plans, man, to turn you into a damn robot, to pretty much affect your genes, you know? So yeah, come on, you want more on that one?
Come on, a little bit more. It says, jump down a little bit more. It says Deborah Fraser Howes, founder of Choose Healthy Life, a non-profit organization founded to address health disparities from the Crown for the African American community, told over 100 black clergy leaders at an event held via live stream.
Yes. He had over 100 black clergies, over 100 so-called black religious leaders, which they're pretty much pushing to the forefront. And this again goes back to the desperation of Esau, you know? He's trying to convince you to not be so hesitant. He wants to pretty much cancel out that skeptic mindset. Which, if you're a so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American, you should be skeptical of this goddamn devil, man. Go ahead,
God, this is another article. This from New York Times, and it reads: Clergy preach faith in the crown vaccine to doubters.
Uh-huh.
It
Oh,
says,
come on, man. Clergy push. Read that one more time. Huh?
it says clergy preach faith in the crown jab to doubters.
To doubters. Now let's see who the doubters is. Do they tell you who the doubters are?
God, you go into the article. It reads: during a recent Sunday service at the Gathering Place, an evangelical church in Orlando, Florida, Gabriel Sagalero focused on his sermon on the Crown 19 vaccine in the fear and suspicion that his largely Latino congregation clutches so tightly.
Oh. So do we still sound like a bunch of disgruntled so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that's using the Bible to vicariously act out our anger against Esau? We just making shit up, right? No, we read it, man. We just read one article where you got the so-called black clergy going out above and beyond the call of duty to convince so-called black skeptics to trust in the jab. Now we reading right here where it's the same thing with the so-called Latin tribe. See that? And again, this is Esau raising up against you. See, go ahead, huh?
Con, it says he turned to the New Testament, the parable of the Good Samaritan.
This nigga slick right here, boy. This nigga slick. This nigga went into the scriptures. Right? Go ahead.
It says the parable of the Good Samaritan about the importance of aiding the stranger. It says,
Hold up. Here it is. We getting precepts proving that you shouldn't take it. And this nigga trying to find a precept to convince you to take it. Do you know that's in the scriptures? Give me Ecclesiasticus, the 39th chapter. I want to say,
yep. I know
is that the 26th verse? Yeah.
Yep.
Ecclesiasticus 39 and start at the 26th verse.
God, this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 and 26. The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water.
Right,
fire.
and that water is also symbolic to the truth, right? Go ahead.
Fire.
And that's also compared to the truth. When you read Jeremiah, the 23rd chapter, the Lord said, word is like a fire. Go ahead.
Iron.
Yep. Iron sharpens iron, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's this truth. Go ahead.
And salt.
Yep. What good is if the salt have lost?
Yep.
All these things are metaphors for the truth. Go ahead.
Flour of wheat. Money.
Read that again out.
It says flour of wheat.
Yep, flour and wheat, which is used to make bread, the bread of life, this truth. Go ahead.
Honey.
That's it. That's also a metaphor for this truth, this word. Go ahead.
Milk.
Huh? See?
And the blood of the grape.
Yep, which is also, that's the wine. That's also a metaphor for this truth. Go ahead.
And oil and clothing.
Yep, which again is what? Metaphors for the truth, right? Oil and clothing. Go ahead. These are the principal things for life. This word. Continue.
All these things are for good to the godly. So to the sinners, they are turned into evil.
See that? So that's what you got. This got turned the very scriptures that is for life, and he tried to flip it and bounce it for evil, man. That's why he went into the parable of, matter of fact, go back to that again.
Back in the article, it reads, he turned to the New Testament. The parable.
We just read what the precepts say those things for life are turned into. Yeah, go ahead.
It says, he turned to the New Testament, the parable of the Good Samaritan about the importance of aiding the stranger.
What the hell that got to do with you going to get maxed, man? But you see that's the desperation of Esau, man. See that? Go ahead.
It reads, in getting yourself the jab, you are helping your neighbor. It says he preached to about 300 masked and socially distanced worshipers.
You got 300 niggas. You got 300 niggas with diapers on their face, 6 foot apart, with Bibles in their hand, man. Yep, go ahead, huh?
He says God wants you to be whole so you can care for your community. So think of this nigga crazy, man.
This nigga crazy, man.
It says, so think of the jab as part of God's plan.
Come on, man. And why are they going above and beyond? Is that St. John the 11th chapter? Let me see real quick.
What did it say? What did it take the place?
Yep, come.
Con.
Is it St. John 11? I believe it's the 11th chapter.
Con.
Let's read that, because the reason why you see these pastors and preachers, they going hard body. They going harder than with this little nigga Fauci, man. Hey, these pastors and preachers, they in the trenches. They're on the front lines with their sleeves rolled up and shit. But there's a reason behind that, because they content with being here in America. They don't want to lose their position. And that's biblical prophet, and scripture speaks about that. Okay, come on, up.
This is St. John 11 and verse 45. It says, then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen the things which Yahushua did, believed on him.
Uh-huh.
But some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them things Yahushua had done.
Yep, go ahead.
It says, then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees of council and said, what do we? For this man doeth many miracles. It says, if we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him.
Hey, and that's playing out again. Hey, if these devils don't step in and compromise, these different channels, the internet, in particular the truth going forth, and put a muzzle, a gag order on his word, then man, it's gonna get out there, and a lot of people are gonna come in and believe. Hey, the brother broke the story. I believe it was the elder Manatazabah first, and the elder Yashawama reiterated it. But in the NFL, they got vocab. They brought the serpent himself to try to calm this shit down, man. But why? Because this word is gonna make the people believe. See? Go ahead, read that part again.
It says, if we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him.
See that? Go ahead.
And the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
See that? So you had these wicked amongst the Pharisees, which that was the clergy at that time. Those was the religious leaders. You see that? They wanted to keep Israel in derision and under the Romans because they were satisfied with their place. Real quick, can you look up that word place? So you see everything is playing over and over and over. The scriptures tell you that there's nothing new under the sun. That's why we are to consider the things of old, and we can look at the time we're in now, and you can see where it pretty much narrates this time. Again, the scriptures is known as the script for a reason. Okay, this is this drama written into reality. Okay, if you got that, what's that name of that word in the Greek?
The word place is on topos,
Which goes back to what? Top. So the leaders at that time, they feared that Esau, in the form of the Romans, would take their seat or their place or their top position. See that? Go ahead, up.
Con, it says place. Any portion or space marked off. I'm gonna jump down. It says opportunity, power, and then it says occasion for acting.
Yep. Did it have any
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Yeah, in the Strong's definition, it's license.
license. Now click on that word, please.
I got that word license. And it reads, it says a permit from an authority to own or use something. No, it's like this the
Go down, give me the similar words on that.
yeah, okay, the similar words.
It should be a key word to jump up in there.
Okay. Yeah, it's the second definition, selected.
Uh-huh.
It says, the similar word to that word license, it says permit, allow, authorize, it says empower, validate, charter.
Oh, what?
Charter.
That's why today you have what? These 501c3 charters. That's pretty much a license, man. That cements your alliance with the so-called white man. You pretty much in bed with the Romans once more. So you see where that word topos, that word place, goes all the way back to the word charter. So it's nothing new under the sun. Back then, you had the leaders of our people who honored that license, that charter that they had, that place. See that? Well, that's being played out again today. And pretty much they have an obligation now. These pastors and preachers, they can't teach the truth. Even these different Israelite groups, like IUIC, they under a 501c3 charter, man. They can't teach the truth. They have an obligation to the so-called white man. So that's why you have this relentless pursuit to keep us in derision. All right? Talk everybody down, calm you down, and just go take the jab, man. All right, so, yeah, with that, let's go back to where we was at. Slocky, did you have more on that article?
That was pretty much it on that article and everything. That was it.
Okay, good. So yeah, when you read real quick, we understand this. Those of us in the know, we get ready to wrap this up. We understand in the know, those of us whom Yahweh Shema Shah and his spirit, his Holy Spirit has rested upon, we know that this really is a build-up to Revelation the 13th chapter and the 16th verse. Okay? Period, point blank range. Now, let's get that real quick, Let's get that in the blue letter. Revelation the 13th chapter. And hold Ecclesiastes, I want to say 21 and 2. Hold that on there. Go ahead,
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 13, and verse 16. And it reads, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Yeah, it takes a sword to give you a mark. So that's why we know that this Esau, through his blessing, that's going to nick you. You're going to have a scar when he's done with your ass. Hey, so hold up, you know what? Real quick, right? Now it's to the point, now we just fast forwarded the movie. See, right now, he's telling you, look, man, trust me. Hey, motherfucker, at your door, he a robber. You got the door cracked. He like, let me in, trust me. At some point, he gonna just kick it in with the gun. Man, lay down. Well, right now, he's trying to convince you to trust him. But it's gonna get to a point where he's gonna make you succumb to him and his wishes. Now, let's go into that word causeth real quick,
This is the word causeth. it says, it's like causes, it says to make. It says with the names of things made, to produce, construct, form, fashion. It says to be authors of.
Go ahead.
The cause, it says to make ready, to prepare.
Continue.
It says
Go straight to the point. Go to the point on that.
it says to constitute
Oh,
appoint,
to constitute or what else?
or appoint one anything, to appoint or ordain one that.
To what?
It says to appoint or ordain.
Or ordain. Hey, so that word ordain goes back to order. So eventually this man is going to order you to take it, man. And in that event, what are we to do? We are to flee from him. We are to run for cover. Give me Ecclesiastes 21. Baba Kashan.
This is the book of Sirach 21 and verse 2. It says, flee from sin as from the face of a serpent.
As from what?
As from a face of a serpent. For
now,
if thou...
It said flee from sin as if you flee from the face of a serpent. That means that this is the ultimate sin. This is the one, this is what's going to be counted as sin against you. This is the one thing that you can't get caught. Let's prove that. Give me Revelation the 14th chapter up. Why he hold that? And you're going to see everything come together perfectly, man. Okay? Go ahead, Doc.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 14 and verse 9. And the third angel followed, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image,
keep that word in mind. And his image, right? Go ahead.
And receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
Yeah, you're going to be reserved to that destruction. Right now, it says, if you receive the mark of this image, then that means you're going to receive this judgment. That means that's going to be counted to sin upon you, right? So that's why when you go back to Ecclesiastes 21,
it says, flee from sin. As from the face.
It says flee from sin, because that sin is taking that mark, man. And you're going to see that as we read on. Go ahead.
It says, as from the face of a serpent.
As of what?
As from the face of a serpent.
Did not we just read in Revelation the 14th chapter, the scriptures framed it as the image of the beast. Well, guess what? The image of the beast is interchangeable with the face of the serpent. You see that? So read it again from the top.
Sirach 21 and verse 2. Flee from sin as from the face of a serpent. For if thou comest too near it, it will bite thee.
If you come too near it, then you're going to get jabbed. And in this case, you're going to get that mark, man. So this thing coming together perfectly, man. Hey, and that's the time we're in. Okay, we're in a time where Esau will rise up against us, man. Okay, that serpent, which has really morphed into this fire-breathing dragon, so in the Revelation 20 chapter, is eventually going to come up against you, and he's going to bite those who come too close to him, man. And that's in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 13th chapter, where it says, touch not pitch, lest ye be defiled therewith. All right? So pretty much, for those of you who trust in this society, you're going to ultimately be bitten by that serpent. But for those of you who have this understanding of what you're going to do, you're going to flee from the face of the serpent or from the image of that beast. All right? So with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, double honors to our teachers, the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, you brothers that labored in his work. And as always, you believe it's the Akim as well as the Aqua. Those of you who subscribe to this truth as well. Till the next time, Shalom.
Shalom.
DTA, Abba.